Welcome to episode 245 of the Muck Podcast. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
Hillary.
You know, I was just, my left palm was itching, but like here.
Oh, wait, that means money.
That means you lose money. Left hand
Wait.
is you lose money, and right hand is you gain money.
How do
So
you
that's
know
what I was
the
going to ask you.
difference?
Do you ever, like, it was itchy, and I'm like, but if I just go like this, maybe I won't lose money?
Oh.
Like, do
I never
you
knew
believe
that-
that superstition?
I always thought if your palm was itchy, like, you got money. I don't know the distinction.
I thought right was good and left was bad, but you know that's an old thing too, where you know kids with left hand
that's
or
true.
left hand were made to feel bad about you. It's
My
like the
dad-
devil. They used to think that was the devil.
My dad, they tied my dad's hand.
Yeah, it was horrible. And it's still going on where I think left means
And now
lose
you
money.
can do both, though.
So there's times when my left palm is itchy and I'm like, no. No. 46 years old.
Yeah.
46 years old.
But you know what?
And I believe that. I believe it.
Listen, if baseball players can put stuff all over themselves because they did it once.
Oh my
we can
God.
believe in
I
this.
saw a tweet this week where someone goes, it was this gay guy that's so funny, Matt IXIV.
Oh,
you know, he makes those great things.
yeah.
On Twitter, he goes, this is the gayest thing I've ever seen. And it was two baseball players. And you know how they would run up and you do chest bumps?
Yeah.
They cock bumped. Girl.
Well, let them have fun.
I mean, my God.
I mean...
And it was very gay. And hot. But what isn't? So, girl, I got so much to talk about this week. First of all, here's what, you know what I'm going to try to do today? I'm going to try to do this podcast without cursing.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think that maybe, depending on topics.
Okay. That's what Simon said. Simon's like, well, what are you going to talk about? Because that's where it starts to fly. I said, you're right. I try to pull the clips. I pulled these video clips, and I pulled one of the greatest, I thought was a great clip from last week. Of course, it was me ranting about J.D. Vance and the election and all that. But I'm saying the F word, even when I'm like telling people, you know, all you have to do is this thing, but I'm saying this effing thing, you know? Like, I think the clip could get more traction, or maybe it would mean more,
might,
you know, like if I wasn't like, like if I'm doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. Does the algorithm block cursing?
I don't know, but people, you know, some people just, you know, to me, I do, sometimes I notice when people are cursing a lot, but to me it's just, it doesn't bother me, but there's people who it bothers.
Yes.
Clearly.
Well.
Because we've had some comment, a comment this last week.
I forget that guy.
Where I had a fight with this guy. I had 3 fights this week.
Oh.
On all social media, I had fights.
See, I don't go on social media.
Neither do I. These are people who come to me. Do you understand? They come to me. This guy in our Instagram, I'm going to tell you how to fight on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. The one on Instagram was on our muck thing, which, because it was the muck, I was like, well, I can't go too deep into how much I want to tell this guy. You know, because I told you what I wanted to respond, and Tina's like, don't do it. Don't do it. Basically, it was a clip where I was cursing, and it was about abortion and our rights and how, you know, it's kind of a topic where we're angry.
Yeah.
And I was saying the F word, and he's like, you know, vulgarity doesn't mean a lot to make your point. No hate, just you know, just maybe you shouldn't do this.
He also made a point to say that it was a sign of low intelligence.
Right. No hate, just saying. And so I responded, of course, and I was like, well, you know, as women who live in the United States and are watching our rights being taken away, and our lives are, when we have elected officials who put our lives in danger, we get a little angry. And I'm quite frankly, if you're not cursing, then maybe you're part of the problem. And of course, now the next couple days, we're getting pages and pages worth of comments about how 80,000 abortions every year are not about women and girls' lives being saved. So, and I was like, oh, so let's get, it's not about vulgarity. You're, you know, basically he's an incel. You're a white, young incel. Yeah, that's what this is. It's not about my cursing. That's not what's offensive to you. Why don't you do this? Don't dance around it and try to be polite.
Yeah,
Tell us what it is.
Be honest.
Because I looked at his page. No one's him. No one's effing him.
No.
Nobody. That's what he's angry about. He's not even getting the chance to get to the point where he can have that conversation with somebody.
He probably wants to remain celibate.
Yeah, nobody wants to have that baby. Horrible. Then I got into a fight on Twitter with Moms Demand, not Moms Demand, I like Moms Demand actually. Moms for Liberty, Broward, because these CUNTs, C-U-N-T-S.
See you next Tuesdays.
These women...
Do they still do that? See you next Tuesday.
Well, I have to because this is a curse-free episode.
No, I mean, but like, do the kids still do see you
I don't
next
think
Tuesday?
so. You remember you asked your son that, and he said no. Nobody knows what that is, Mom.
Dang.
Yeah. But for the purposes of this, that's what they are. And they were upset this week at the Broward School Board meeting because they're including just a space for LGBTQ students. They put out a flyer, and it's like the most kind and like supportive flyer about how they have these services available, and here's the things that we can offer. And it's nothing about like, hey, you want to be gay?
Yeah.
Kids, like nothing like that. And so of course I started commenting because Scott Travis from Broward County from Sun Sentinel shared it. And so I wrote on it, and then of course they have to start, now this girl's coming for me. And she wrote, you could teach children to be kind to others and accepting without forcing them to disregard the values and morals that they are taught at home. At the very bottom of this picture, there's a statement and that is all they need to encourage not sexuality or gender confusion.
What?
Like, when you look through the flyer, there's nothing. And I said, my darling, how do you teach children to be kind and accepting when you won't even allow the school to say that humans can be gay? Like, they can't even, how do you say accept others when you want them to say everybody's the same? When that's not the point. To accept others by saying other people can be gay, lesbian, transgender, and we accept everyone. But they won't even allow them to say that. And then I said, also, if your values and morals in any way disregard anyone in the LGBTQ community, you can keep them. And I commented on another post, and so then she comes back with, every one of my comments were, Dear Heavenly Father, please, guide Hillary into this whole thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Dear Heavenly Father?
Yeah.
Oh, so she's one of the people that can talk to God too?
Yeah. And I wrote...
That's nice.
Yeah, so I finally commented back.
She's sending God a letter about you.
And I wrote...
I didn't know God could read Facebook posts, though.
I wrote, the fact that you assume that I wasn't raised with religion or know Jesus is laughable to me. I was taught that Jesus was accepting and all love. I don't know this twisted version that you and your lost flock claim to speak for. Keep your prayers for someone who needs them. I'm sorry, but here's what I know. Because there's another, and I got into a fight on Facebook, which I'll tell you about too. But here's what I know.
This is crazy.
Well, I'm fired up, and we'll get into that too. But this is the thing. The reason these people, these bigots, which is what I called her in the first post, I said, you're a bigot. The reason these bigots and the guy on Instagram and the old bitch I got on... I'm sorry, I did it.
Let me see.
I did it.
We're 10 minutes in. Not even, wait, I think it's 8 because it was running for 2. So 8 minutes in.
Is that a curse though? What if I say, is B-I-T-C-H, but I go, hey, B-I-T, like to you, like, hey, is that? See, I was gonna make that. All right. Well, all right.
Well,
that'll be the only one, I promise.
Okay.
This old biddy on Facebook. The reason why they think they can get on all these social media and say these things to people is because Trump 10 years ago opened the door to allow the Proud Boys and the KKK and the Nazis to walk through in the daylight. And we need to continue to shame them. When Moms for Liberty says the Broward County School Board shouldn't say gay or accept or have a safe space for gay and LGBTQ students, when they say that, they are bigots. Their values and morals are bigotry.
Correct.
And so she can pray all day to Jesus. She'll put her head down on the pillow at night and she's a bigot. And we need to shame them. Continue to publicly shame these people. This old woman on Facebook, I put up a video that got over 200 shares at this point on Facebook and I don't know, 6,000, 7,000 views of the weekly, I think at this point, boat parade flotilla for Trump. There's a flotilla that goes through Palm Beach, through the intercoastal out into the ocean. Yeah,
that's the Nazi parade.
There was a boat with Nazi flags, and they're saying Hail Hitler. They're saying the N-word, right? And there's Nazi flags and Trump's flags, and they're saying the most horrible things. And Eric Trump, by the way, was in that flotilla.
Yeah.
So don't tell me they're not involved in this. And I put the video up and everybody's like, this is disgusting. Oh my God, this is horrible. This is not who are these people? This is crazy.
Right.
I got one comment from this old lady who goes, there's hundreds of boats out there and you put the one video of the boat with the Nazi flag.
I mean,
and I said, ma'am, how many Nazi flags on a boat are going to be unacceptable to you?
Yeah.
How many?
One is too many.
And she goes, this is not who Trump is. And I go, well, I'm sorry, but if you're voting for Trump, and this goes for everybody, not only this old biddy, but if you're voting for Trump, you are voting on the same side as Nazis and Proud Boys and the KKK.
Correct.
That's who you are.
That's
when the racists support your candidate, which I can't even imagine voting for someone like that. No.
I still can't believe we're in a close race. I keep seeing this. It's like tied neck and neck.
But how are we accepting Nazi flags on the intercoastal of Florida and saying that I'm going to still vote for that person?
Correct.
If Kamala's flag was flying next to a Nazi flag and she was saying nothing and these were her supporters, she would not have my vote.
Correct.
Get your head out of your ASS. Get it out. Get it out. And that's what I shut her down by saying, you know, you're going to have to accept the fact that this is who is on your side. This is who's on your side. And this woman was old enough to be born probably right after the Holocaust, right? Yeah. She's probably in her 70s. She's not that far removed to understand where we all stand with the Holocaust and Hitler. Yet she's now, at her very old age, accepting. If we can forget history within less than 100 years of it happening, or the understanding of the reason the KKK wore hoods is because it was a hateful, horrible thing, and they were going to be shamed if they took the hoods off. They used to not have hoods, you know. They'd walk around. They'd be judges walking around in the KKK. Yeah. But then they were shamed back in there. We need to shame them back to the darkness. I need y'all to do that with me. If you see people being racist online or being bigots, say that. You're a bigot. You should be ashamed. I wish I knew who was on that boat. I'd be sending that video to their mother, to their brother, to their sister, to their husband, to their wives, to their employer, to everybody who's involved. Right. Is this who you have working for you? I'm sorry, excuse me, company. You're okay with a Nazi working for you? Shame them out of existence. Shame them out of the light. We have to. This is not who we are. This is not who we are as Americans. Please. And, you know, I sent you that clip. I know I'm taking a lot of time, I'm sorry. But I sent you and Justin that clip from Marc Marin. The beginning of Marc Marin's Al Pacino episode this week. It's very good. It's about 3 minutes right after he says hello. And he talks about how nervous he is about this election and how confused he is about how people are okay with, we are going to welcome fascism into this country, and what are we supposed to do, and how is he dealing with that? Like, how can there's nothing I can do. Like, in the bigger picture of people, you can't change their minds. They've lost their way.
They have lost their way, and I'm dealing with. I found out that there are a few family members of mine that might be voting for Trump based on the abortion issue, and these fake.
It's a big issue.
It's a big issue
on both sides, yeah.
And it's these fake videos that they're getting. They're sending out videos of like aborted dead babies, supposed aborted dead babies at 9 months, that these babies are born and then taken somewhere and killed, and they're covered in blood, and it's disgusting. And they're like, no, the videos, that's what they are focused on, and they're religious, and I don't know how to combat that. I don't know how to peel it away.
You can't. And that's what I mean. There's a point where you and I and everyone else who's still living in reality, like the fact that this older woman on Facebook could justify voting for her literal excuse was, I can't imagine 50, 40 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, this woman could have justified that in her mind, that she would be okay with someone flying a Nazi flag because it was next to Trump's flag. Right. They have slowly descended into a mindset that is cult-ish, and we talk about that, but it should not be taken lightly. It is a cult. And sorry. And I know people can say, well, you're in a cult. Listen. Again, I tell you, I would abandon a Kamala in a second and not vote for anybody. In a fucking sec. All right, that's my second one. Listen, that was in 6 minutes later. All right, 10 and 6 minutes. That's not bad, y'all. That's not bad. You guys, think about how much I'm it's bubbling. Like, I'm really doing very well. But in a second, I would abandon her.
Yeah.
If Nazis were supporting her.
Of course.
I would say bye-bye.
Of course.
Bye-bye-bye.
Bye-bye-bye.
Bye-bye-bye. Nazis? Bye-bye-bye.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm out.
And the thing is, this is where the hypocrisy comes in, is that this same lady, I'm sure, if there was an LGBTQ flag outside of a store or a business, would probably lose her mind over one little flag.
Right.
She would probably lose her mind if there was a flag in a classroom, or if there was a flag, you know what I mean? A pride flag somewhere. So
yeah, that's offensive to her.
Yeah, that's offensive. Like, she would probably lose her mind for that. But, you know, one little Nazi flag.
Yeah.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Oh, you picked out the one vote.
One. Please. They're all, and I'm sure they were all cheering each other on in that little boat parade they do.
You know, the worst part is, too,
These
is that
Florida boat people,
you
man.
also, we've talked about them.
Ugh.
It's a life.
It is something.
Salt life. Also, you know, people voted for Hitler. Like, it wasn't...
Oh, no,
he got elected and then descended into this madness.
Course.
And they went along with it because he was very charming. He was a charming man. He was a great orator.
Yes,
right?
Of course.
And, like, nobody... And then slowly, as he said, these people are to blame, and those people are to blame, and those people are to blame, and people were like, yeah, that's not me. So yeah, the Jews are to blame, the people of color are to blame. Oh yeah, it's the queer people, right? It's the people who are artists. We start locking people up. Then we're putting people in the ovens. Y'all are still going along with it? How far is this gonna go? I'm sorry. But again, like Marc Marin says, I gotta let it, we cannot. But Trump this week,
I have some
Trump this week threatened that if people don't go along with him, he's going to sick the American military on him. I can tell you right now, Mr. Trump, I'll put a notice on my door, come get me.
Ooh!
Because I would rather rot and die in jail than ever stop speaking out against you and your fascist regime, which is trying to take over our country. Tell Stephen Miller my address, y'all.
Oh my God.
Because I will go. Don't ever think that I'm going to stay quiet. I'm not going to be one of these people in Germany who didn't speak up. I'll be the first one you take. Then take me. I'll gladly be taken for that. Don't ever think that I'm going to roll over and stop speaking out against this. And everybody else should be feeling the same way. We have something to fight for here. And it's worth it. This guy? No. Not this guy.
No.
No, ma'am.
This is, well, I guess we'll talk about a couple things then, since we're on Trump. Other things this week that were crazy is, you know, he's been running his mouth at these town halls.
Woo, I got that on top of my list.
And I know that you probably are going to talk about this, but he called the insurrection a day of love.
Mm-hmm.
Where nothing bad
happened.
When he was asked about it from a constituent, there was a constituent that was like,
"Oh, love this guy. Love this guy.
I voted for you, I supported you, but then the insurrection happened, and I don't, you know, and then I didn't vote for you. Like, tell me about the insurrection, basically. Tell me about that day." And he still will not acknowledge. And he's like, I said peacefully, and I didn't do anything. It was a day of love, and all, you know, like. It's insane. He will not accept responsibility.
Yeah, and that voter, this was all in Miami. It was Latino voters.
Yeah.
It was on Univision. It was an incredible town hall.
Yeah.
And what that reminded me of, and there was another clip too that I posted everywhere that I thought was really great. These two old men in the backwoods Alabama somewhere at this little diner, which I was like, you know, they have good grits there.
Yeah.
But this woman who was local was talking to these older, like 70-year-old men about voting for Trump. We have to remember that there are Republicans who have been heavily turned off by him.
Yes.
You know, there are sycophants with their flags and their bullshit stuff. But like, we have to remember there's people who saw January 6th and saw that this man was ready to turn over this country. Take it. He was going to steal it.
Yeah.
And that man who asked that question, it was the most direct and forward question about January 6th I've heard from anyone. I signed this man up for CNN.
Right.
Because he was incredible. And he said, you lost my vote.
Yeah.
You've lost my vote, and I'm giving you the opportunity
to earn it back.
Yeah, and he says
crazy.
that, and they're looking at half the screen was Trump, and the other half was this man. And he was like, it's a day of love. And the man went.
Well, and then he also said, Ashley, whatever her name, was murdered, but nobody was hurt. Then the next
Ashley died, nobody died.
Nobody died, nobody was hurt. And then there's this lady behind him that's like,
huh?
What? Like, it's like you're there listening to this maniac. And I don't understand. I really don't understand. There are people who, and they showed clips again of the guy that took down the American flag and put up a Trump flag. That's not being an American. American does not remove the flag of our country for the sole flag of a nut job.
Yep.
Or any president. I would never take down the American flag and put up a Biden flag in its place.
First of all, I would never buy a Biden flag or a Kamala flag. I wouldn't even have that.
I wouldn't either.
It's so bizarre. But they did talk to a lot of the folks that asked him questions, and they spoke to that same man afterwards, and they said, "Did he win your vote back?" And he said, "No, I'm not voting for him."
Thank God.
Lifelong Republican.
Yeah.
Hard worker.
But you know what? The Republican Party needs to, grab the reins on this. Because I think the Atlantic did a great article on, they endorsed Kamala Harris, and they said this is the, 8th time in 167 years that they've endorsed a president in law.
Okay.
In 167 years, 3 of them were all against Trump. Like that, and I had sent it to my cousin, and he was like, "Oh yeah, it hasn't done it in 167 years, but in the past 8 years, done it 3 times." And I'm
doesn't
like,
that say anything to you?
Because it's a psychopath.
Yeah, don't you understand why that's a thing?
Like, they have a reason. But in their post, they had, if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat who's still not sure, if you're someone who's not voting, like all the reasons why you need to vote in this election for Harris. And it was very good. And and they're like, there are the Mitt Romney Republicans out there where we could get back to a place where there's discourse. It's not saying that everything that it's got to be all Democrats all of the time. That's not what anyone is saying. But that party better grab the reins and try to steer themselves. They're going to go over a cliff for this guy.
I think it's, no offense, I think it's too late. I think that this party is gone, and that's okay. That's okay. You can restructure, but I don't think it's the How do you? It's like the Catholic Church trying to say, "Hey, we're good with kids now." Like how is that possible? When I literally just saw a bunch of in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
They just paid a bunch of $800 million in settlements, or $80 million, something like that.
And we're
settlements.
Supposed to go to church still?
You know what I'm saying? It's like you had really bad PR for a long time. Not only did you have bad PR, you embraced it in a way that wasn't even. They didn't really come out against it. You'd say one thing out the side of your mouth, and then behind closed doors, you're doing something else.
Yeah.
It's wild to me. And can I just say something else real quick? Because this is what I meant to write on Twitter to that woman, which I wanted to get away from Moms for Liberty. But don't use Jesus and the church against LGBTQ people. Because the Pope himself, in 2 calls that we know of this year, started saying that all the priests in Rome are effing each other. He says they have a major problem with gay priests there. They're all having sex. It's like major orgies in Rome at the Vatican City. So we know there's a problem. So how can you justify even using Jesus and the religion when there's an issue with the Pope? The Pope has an issue with all these men who are having sex with each other because they're gay. You know who else didn't have a problem? Jesus. You know what Jesus was doing when he was around, y'all? He was hanging out on the street corners with the sex workers.
Yeah.
That's who Jesus hung out with.
Yeah,
Those were his pals.
Yeah.
I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. He wasn't up wearing gold shoes and screaming at school board meetings about how we have to protect children with their values and their morals. No. Values and morals. No. Please, it's so disgusting.
The other thing that Trump did this week that I thought was crazy, or said this week, he was asked about gun control policy, specifically wanting to know, how would you explain your gun control policy to parents of kids who have died in mass shootings? And his response was well, we still need guns for entertainment. So entertainment.
F your kids.
Yeah. Because, people want to have fun with guns. So that's more important than all of these lives lost.
Yeah.
So again, where are these pro-life people? You would think that the pro-life people would be 100% on board with gun control safety. After all these children's lives are lost. All of these people that are like, oh my God, they're shooting up your kids with hormones in schools. They're worried about that, but they're not worried about guns shooting up the kids in schools. It doesn't make any sense.
I love when they say things about how teachers are trying to, indoctrinate children with to be LGBTQ at school. Do you even understand? I mean, I'm sitting next to a teacher as if I have to explain it, but do you even understand what they're doing? That's a job. It's their job. They prepare for the day. They teach them math, science, whatever, English. And then they go home. And then they go home.
They go home.
They don't want anything to do with these kids.
Out of the building.
Yeah, they teach them and they go home. They don't want to.
And they're exhausted.
Yeah, they're tired. It's a job.
It's a job.
They're not there trying to do something evil. No. That's what you're doing.
Yes.
You think that about other people because that's who you are.
Yes.
You're evil.
Because you're putting Trump Chinese Bibles in everybody's classroom.
Oh God.
Oh God.
Wait a minute. I do. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just had a couple more Trump things. Just one. Did you see that Trump said that he wants Biden back in his quote?
Oh yeah,
rightful place.
He can't stand it.
He can't take it. And Harris should essentially be thrown off the campaign.
Yeah.
He cannot take the heat.
He
He's
can't.
feeling that heat.
Ooh.
Oh, when Harris said...
Oh, at the rally?
At the rally.
I knew you were going to say this.
I posted it. There was a heckler, and she's like, you're at the wrong rally. She's like, you need to go to the smaller one down the road. I was like, oh!
So
she's like, she doesn't care.
No, it's so good.
And the difference is, Trump would be like, well, let's go beat up people like that.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
She didn't call for violence
Boo
against
them.
She didn't call for booing
yeah.
them. She didn't do that. She was just like, you're at the wrong place. Like, bye, go. But there was no violence suggested like it is on the other side. And that's the difference, too. And I think that these people like that.
Yeah.
It's like he's like the WWE candidate.
It's the Coliseum all over again.
It's the Coliseum.
Yeah.
It's all of this just ugliness, and they like it because again, they're looking at this guy for entertainment,
right? Not
for policy,
right? And they're angry.
Please,
whatever. Hey, let me go back to this real quick because I thought you would like this. Oh. I also, when I was fighting with the lady from Moms for Liberty, I knew that they would see it, so I wrote this. And it's kind of mean, but I really don't care. I said, Moms for Liberty is a played-out organization that was started in the depths of hell somewhere by bored women who needed something to do with their lives. No one is trying to turn your kid gay, and God help them if they are, especially living under your roof. Blessed!
Blessed is the best.
Blessed!
Blessed. That should be the title of our episode today.
With an exclamation point.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yo, speaking of gun control and NRA, I know we're bopping around, but that's fun.
Yeah,
so,
who cares?
Did you see the story in The Guardian about the new head of the NRA?
No.
Oh, girl. His name is Doug Hamlin, and apparently when he was going to the University of Michigan, he was charged with animal cruelty and ultimately forced to plead no contest while an undergraduate student at the University of Michigan. Okay.
Wait. What does that mean?
Okay, you want to hear it? Trigger warning, it's horrible. According to the report, he and his fraternity brothers captured a pet cat and engaged in gruesome torture that involved cutting off the animal's paws before stringing it up and setting it on fire.
That's like serial killer stuff.
Yeah. All of those involved were expelled.
I thought you were going to tell me something about frogs or
No, girl. These are men in their 20s, right? They're in college.
And a good college. Like, it's hard to get in that University of Michigan.
All of those involved were expelled from the fraternity, which he was the president of at the time. Now, why weren't they expelled? That's a good college? Why are we throwing people out for this psychotic behavior?
Yeah. First of all, what year?
I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at you can find the report, but it's
in
the Guardian.
That's disgusting.
And of course, they were supposed to have this.
What fraternity is this?
I don't know, but they were supposed to have a big event with Trump this week.
I do not want my kid involved in a fraternity.
No.
There's always bad stuff with these fraternities, with the way they treat women,
Well, apparently they were supposed to have a big event with the NRA this week. Trump was, and then they canceled it when the story came out because Doug Hamlin was supposed to be there. And, but we know how he feels about pets. Why aren't you coming out against this guy?
Well, yeah,
you don't like people eating
Vance?
pets.
Yeah, I was just saying, where the hell's JD Vance?
Wait a minute.
JD Vance?
Doug
just got to ignore.
This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
He's like that woman with all the formulas in front of her face in that meme where she's like...
So not just decline, like, cut off the pause. This is like insane behavior. How did the University of Michigan even let this guy graduate? Shouldn't they go to jail? Isn't that
Anyway, the person who reported, who like tipped off the Guardian, she's in Moms Demand Action in that local area, and she went to school with him at that time. She knew who he was, and so she tipped him off, and she's like, this is what this guy did, and they found the report from the school.
Good. From the school, like, but wouldn't there be a police report?
Oh, yeah. But I don't think anything.
Don't you get arrested for that? You can't burn an animal alive.
Can we, while we're staying on Trump for a minute, let's talk about...
that makes me want to cry.
I know, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Tina.
That's like really upsetting me.
I know.
I'm sorry.
No, Tina.
I'm sorry. Just like, who does that to a little creature like that?
The guy from Don't F With Cats. Remember that movie? That's him.
Yeah, this is him.
Who eventually went on to kill people.
Like, what are we doing?
By the way, what would it take for the people who are members of the NRA to go,
yeah,
not for me anymore?
I mean, is he going to get kicked out of this role?
Oh, I doubt it. Please. Talk about psychopaths.
They'll probably celebrate him.
Talk about psychopaths.
He'll probably have some kind of reason, some kind of excuse. It was blown out of proportion. He'll have some kind of thing.
Ugh, horrible.
I can't believe that. That is disgusting.
Well, the other thing is, last week we were talking about, things happen like right after we record, but we talked about misinformation last week and, how dangerous, and Tina made this amazing point about how when Matt Gaetz was spreading misinformation, how every time it's a major thing, like a school shooting or a natural disaster or anything like that, they use those moments to twist and send misinformation and spread conspiracy theories and how dangerous that is at the time. And we talked about these little cities and little towns that are up in the mountains of Western North Carolina that people still haven't been able to go to. There's still 100 people missing in North Carolina. 100 people.
That's a lot.
And so FEMA has been doing their best, but in the last week, Trump and all of these people who are in front of a microphone have been spreading misinformation about how if you take money from FEMA, they're really that gives them rights to take your land, right? And they're coming to take your land, and of course because they want that land because of course they sent the hurricane there, right? They can control the hurricane, so people are believing this, and there's these militias that exist in North Carolina that now are hunting FEMA workers.
Yeah, FEMA workers had to stop their job helping people, rescuing people, putting stuff back together so that people could start getting back to some sense of normalcy. And now their lives are in danger.
They were
because of crazy rhetoric.
They were sending helicopters up into those mountains to rescue people who now, have no power.
They arrested a guy.
Good. They have no power. They have no water. They have no heat. It's cold right now in the mountains of North Carolina. And I'm sure some of those people are elderly and they can't get out. And what are you doing? What are you doing? And again, we talked about how dangerous, when Trump 10 years ago, he really laid the groundwork to get us where we are, to where now people during the pandemic, they didn't trust the CDC. Now they're not trusting meteorologists. They don't trust that FEMA, they can't get out of their houses and get food and water. They're going to starve to death, essentially, because they don't want FEMA to come to their door and hand them a peanut butter effing sandwich. That's what they're going to do. They're going to hold a gun to FEMA, who's trying to get them down off the mountain. That's where we're at, y'all.
Yeah.
That's not okay. And this is Trump, who wants to be our president, doing this. For like you said last week, Obama said it last week. I read that quote. When people are at their most vulnerable, they are willing to twist and turn them.
Yeah.
People they don't know, they don't care about, they'll never see, they'll never meet in their entire lives. They're willing to let them die to spread misinformation about Biden and Kamala Harris.
So they can win an election.
Because that's what FEMA is, right? It's the administration. They're willing to let people die for that.
They're disgusting.
I don't know how many more reasons we need to give anyone. I don't
either. Like, I don't understand. I don't. I had a state thing that I thought,
before we get to state, there's some other funny things that I saw yesterday. So this guy's writing a book, a journalist is writing a book about Trump and Republicans, basically. And so after January 6th, he was interviewing a bunch of Republicans, and one of the people he interviewed recording was Mitch McConnell. And so he asked Mitch McConnell, what do you think about Trump? And he called him, quote, stupid, a narcissist, and a despicable human being.
Oh. But you're going to vote for him, right?
Still pushing. And
so
this came out, right? This came out this week, and reporters asked McConnell, and do you know what he said?
Did he space out and not remember?
No, this guy goes, he says, quote, well, it's not as bad as some of the things that Lindsey Graham and J.D. Vance have said about him. And he basically said we're all on the same team now, so.
Yeah.
Because how can we forget? It's also on, recording, on news, on the floor of the Senate. After the next day after January 6th, he said Trump is responsible for this. The president sat there and spread rhetoric. He said January 6th is Trump's fault.
Yeah.
It's his responsibility.
They all backpedal.
You also have
people backpedal as much as this party.
Bob Woodward is putting a book out about the insurrection of January 6th and about Trump. And he has several generals, including General Milley, who was appointed by Trump as in the Joint Chiefs, and who, of course, walked, he said many things. But all these guys are all saying things to, Bob Woodward, to him when they're sitting down, but they don't come out in front of a camera. And all of these generals are saying that Trump is a fascist. That if he's elected, it will be fascism coming here.
Why wouldn't these generals come out?
Yeah, say it out loud. You have to say it out loud.
You have to, because he's not their president anymore. They're under
No, they're not. They're like these are like retired
No, then
generals.
what are they waiting for?
I don't
Because
know.
that would have a lot of influence on the veterans.
Stop saying it to Bob Woodward. Say it in front of a microphone and a camera. Say it so people can hear you. Say it in the way that these men and women who serve can understand what you're saying. Explain what fascism is. Literally on CNN this week, this is where we're at. On CNN this week, they had a card up that said what the definition of fascism, because they want to explain to people what that is. This is the United States of America in 2024, where a major news organization has to explain what fascism is because somebody running for president is a fascist. And they have to teach you because you don't remember from history books. You don't remember from school.
I don't read anything. And I think the thing in that Marc Marin podcast clip that you sent is, talking about being in that funnel and that algorithm and the things that are being fed to you.
Yeah.
And, are those things probably being fed to me? Maybe, but I mean, there are some political things that come up in my feed, but I look at a lot. I try very hard, if I do news, just to look up news from news sites. And then I always try, like I've said it before on here, like if I hear something, I look it up. And so, is that true? But I try to make sure that my feed is very much like other things that I enjoy in life, so that, because you can get sucked into a vacuum of that.
Of course.
And these older people who, they're not on an Instagram or a TikTok, but they are on that YouTube. And there's so many of these like bro dude podcast people that are very toxic, very white males that are spewing all of this stuff, that are gearing them towards this. And I that's a problem.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how we rectify
It's
this.
like the perfect storm.
Yeah,
the perfect storm of somebody
how we
who
fix social media so that we don't have this tunnel vision for people. Like, do we need an algorithm that way? Like, you know what I mean?
A Trump character, someone like Trump who says the things he does, this person would have been laughed out of politics 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago.
15 years ago.
He would have been laughed out because of the things that he's saying. But the rise of social media and the way that listen, I just saw David Simon, who I love. He's the writer of The Wire and many other great shows. He put a tweet up this morning that I saw it this morning, and he's talking about Elon Musk. And he Elon Musk is basically using the algorithm of Twitter. Let me find
He's manipulating the algorithm?
Hold on, let me see if I can find
Well, that's the other thing that I didn't think about.
Yeah, he's using it to... Oh, here we are. We are hosted on this hell site by one of the most rancid, cynical SHIT pieces to ever oppress our society, and he is in service of someone even worse. So he retweeted this thing that said, Musk, it's a picture of Kamala. Musk is funding an advertisement blitz that micro-targets Jews in Muslim neighborhoods, delivering a polarizing message about Harris. Muslim areas are told she's pro-Israel. Jews are told she's pro-Palestine. And he's funding that. He's a media owner of Twitter.
This is why we all have to get off of Twitter.
Manipulate. We do have to get off Twitter. We do have to get off Twitter. I literally go on Twitter for 2 minutes. I go, oh, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Because I get so angry. And it's really about stuff that I'm passionate about, but I see how we're devolving and how we're losing things, and I go, oh, no, I can't.
It's such a good point. If you have someone who is the owner of the media company, are there laws, is there something in place that says you are the head of this thing that reaches millions and millions and millions and millions of people?
Well,
do you have a right to do what you're doing?
Well, remember after the 2016 election, they dragged Mark Zuckerberg in Congress, in front of Congress, and said Facebook was being manipulated by Russian bots, and you all allowed this to happen. And they had to, I don't know how well they've done it, but apparently they've had to lock things down, and they shut down any political thing.
And
it's
like
shut down. It's misinformation.
Too.
Because they own Instagram. But who's going to drag, in this Congress, who's going to drag Elon Musk in front of them? That arrogant POS. Who's going to drag him in front of Congress? If Trump is elected, and we could win the House, there's a way to get there, but like, who's going to drag him in front of Congress and say, you used your power and your influence and your network to do this? Who's going to do that? Nobody. And that's the danger of it all. The danger is he gets into the White House and then also has these goons who will do everything for him. So, what did you want to say about the state? Because it might be the same.
The DeSantis.
That's fine. Let's just call him that. DeSantis.
Senseless. DeSantis is in trouble for trying to suppress an amendment that is on the ballot, which is to restore women's access to abortion in this God-forsaken place we call home. And this dum-dum sent a cease and desist letter, but he sent it through the state's Department of Health. Okay, which...
A state agency
which cannot get involved in politics.
For political reasons.
But sent a cease and desist letter to TV stations across the state to get rid of an ad. And the ad is this woman who was diagnosed with brain cancer when she was early on in her pregnancy, and she had a 3-year-old child, and she had to make a decision. Do I get treatment for my brain cancer? And through that treatment, she would have to have an abortion because the treatment is,
lethal. It would be lethal to
a fetus, or very damaging to a fetus. Or do I continue on with a pregnancy, risk death through this brain tumor, and then die and potentially have this baby die and potentially have a 3-year-old without a mother? Or maybe she makes it through the 9 months and has a baby, and then they're both without a mother. Like,
what a horrible decision this person has to make. It's a terrible
decision to make in the first place.
Yeah, and then you add on
people saying, well, you can't have an abortion.
Right.
Because
the government said so.
Yeah.
Because DeSantis said he doesn't like it. So.
And,
limited your options there.
It's crazy. And so he wanted this ad off of the television and sent this letter to everyone. So then he had to go to court. And just recently, the U.S. District Judge, his name was Marc Walker, ruled that the health department, led, of course, under DeSantis, can't do that. And he said, and I quote, which was my favorite quote of all of this, "It's the First Amendment, stupid."
Oh, God.
It's the First Amendment, stupid.
Really, floods my basement. I'll tell you what. Here's what I want to know. Because he's doing a lot of things to try to interfere. And the other thing is he has all of these individuals are now suing in different circuit courts across Florida. He has them. It's the same individuals that are suing, saying that the petitions, the signatures on the petitions, because the state has to review them, again, in the elections office, which is also under the DeSantis umbrella, they have to review the petitions, which we only had to get 700,000 petitions, and they had well over 800,000, and they had well over 1 million. Well over 1 million signatures. And so that you get more in case they try to do this kind of BS, right? And so now all these people are suing, saying the petitions didn't have the right signatures and this should be thrown off the ballot. And my question is, and I didn't look it up and I should have, but maybe if anybody out there can let us know, there's other states that are Republican-led, like a Kansas or Ohio. I don't know, Ohio, do they have a Republican governor? Maybe. Annette, let us know. But like, did the other states where they had these amendments pass, excuse me, that are Republican states, did they have governors doing this, interfering? Did they interfere? I'm sure there were political action committees that did, right? That maybe the governor funded or whatever, but like, did the governor actually use his political office to interfere? Like, I'm really curious about that, because if he's the only one, like, do you understand what we're facing here?
I know.
Like, this person will stop at nothing. Nothing, even though the people want this.
Correct.
The people want this. And so you are still trying to undo the will of the people. It's bonkers to me. What do you care if the state of Florida, who you're a leader of, care? This is what we want for our lives, for our children, for the health and safety. If God forbid we're ever put in a situation where someone has a brain tumor.
I know.
Like, why would you put the extra step of agony on these women? Why would you? And these families, families. She had a 3-year-old daughter, and she's trying to figure out if she should live or die. She has to live with that decision for the rest of her life. And God forbid she wants to survive having a brain tumor.
I mean, come on.
Even after having the much needed health care of an abortion to save her life and do the brain, she's hoping she survives cancer, and you want to step in on that? It's crazy to me. How is anybody okay with that? How is anyone okay with going along with that? And not to mention,
can't wrap my head around
here's another thing, and we talked about this last week. The church that we used to go to in Deerfield has a giant vote no on floor.
Okay.
So now I see them on every church.
Yes. There's a crazy church down the street. You know, the
Presbyterian.
Church, the big
First
Presbyterian
yeah.
This church, you know, with the preacher and the TV
They're
show.
at every church.
It's ginormous.
Yeah.
And I took photos.
Yeah. By the way, you can report this.
And we're going to be writing to the IRS.
Yep.
Because you are going to, hopefully, I don't understand how they don't lose their tax exempt status.
Well, apparently someone did this with the church in Deerfield that I used to go to. And the guy, my mom had sent me those tweets, and the guy he did this when they did this a couple elections ago with another issue, and they got into a lot of trouble up there.
Good.
And I've seen it at all these other churches down here, south of us.
Yeah.
And they're not allowed. This is unconstitutional. Do you all not understand the separation of church and state?
They don't
Do
care.
you not understand? You think no one's going to report y'all? You lose the right to be politically active with using your voice as a religion. As soon as you check off, we're a religion.
Yeah.
You lose it.
If you want to be involved in politics, then don't be a church. You can't have it both ways. Or why don't you pay your fair share of taxes? Because how much could we all benefit from all those monies coming in?
I hate...
From Joel Osteen.
I want to say something else, but I want to say something else, but I don't want to... It's also given to us in weekly emails. Do you know what I say when I say us?
Oh.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No.
The propaganda is sent home to me.
Yes, I know what you're saying.
Do you hear what I'm saying now?
Yeah.
It's sent home from a private school to me. The propaganda is sent to my email from them. Like, that is not okay. And I can't email them back and go, excuse me, because am I going to step into that pile of poop? Am I going to step into that? But it's propaganda. And you're not allowed to do that. You're literally not allowed to do that.
I would lose my mind.
I'm pretty lost in my mind. What else you got? I got a couple more things.
The only thing I have is a local thing.
Okay.
So I saw this in the Sun Sentinel yesterday. Did you see this about the fake voter guide?
Oh, yeah. By Steve Bosquet?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a fake voter guide, and it's a Broward Blue voter guide that is mimicking basically the Broward Democratic Party.
Well, first of all, anything's a step up from the Broward Dems card. That's number one.
But it's basically the exact same card.
Yeah.
It looks the same. It's outlined the same, except that there are 2 candidates that they switched out.
Okay.
So it's 2 Fort Lauderdale candidates.
Oh, right.
That they changed the names on this voter card. So but it makes it seem like it's the Broward Democratic voter card, but it's not, because they've swapped out 2 candidates. And guess whose name comes up in this article as sort of...
I know, Bolton.
Yes! I read that. Oh my God!
I read it and I was like, this is not a shock to me. Marlon Bolton in the city of Tamarack is wacky, dude. He makes his own card. Like, this man is running his own thing.
Well, and he's getting in trouble too, because he's putting like information suggesting that he's endorsed by the Sun Sentinel when he's not, because he's using stuff from years ago and he's piecemealing this together. They endorsed Wild West over there.
They endorsed the woman who's running against him in Tamarack, and what they wrote about him is, I don't know. This is the thing to me where it's like, if you had a strong Broward Democratic Party, this man would be scared to get out of his bed in the morning. Yeah. Like, you should be shamed. They should be shaming him. And I have a lot of strong reasons about why they're not.
But it was wild to me.
It would not be politically correct for me to say it. But he's a swindler, allegedly. Alleged by the Sun Sentinel. Is alleged by the Sun Sentinel that we talked about the community center that was in his neighborhood that he tried to buy. He's into all kinds of, there's all kinds of nonsense happening out there.
It's wild, but the fact that they doctored up this voter guide.
Well, okay, let me say something.
It's crazy to me.
Here's the thing. There's lots of voter guides out there. We have friends of ours that put out their own voter guides because people follow them.
That would be like me taking the Dolphin Democrats guide and manipulating it and taking out a candidate and putting someone else in and putting it out as if it's the Dolphins guide. You can't do that.
Well, okay.
You can make your own separate guide.
Yeah, Hillary's guide to voting.
Right. But like, I can't make it seem like it's from another reputable organization when it's not.
Well, it's not really from a reputable organization.
I know, but I'm just
saying, what my point is. When I read it, I was like, well, if we had a strong Broward Democratic Party, people would be terrified to even copy anything.
Right.
But we don't. And quite frankly, when you look at the Broward Dems card, I can't believe I have to say this every 2 years. I just said it in August. You're the only place you're guiding me is to an early grave. And I feel the same way about this card. Stop emailing it to me. I don't want to see it. It's a joke. Pick one. Get the hell out of here. How about y'all pick one and tell us who's the best person? How about you actually do your due diligence as a party? I don't know, show up to meetings might be one thing you could do.
Right before an election.
Maybe you could show up to a meeting because, you need to encourage people to get out there. That might be something you could do. That's number one. Number two, put a voter guide together that's actually comprehensive and meaningful and who's something that everyone's agreed on, who are committee people and not just some Zoom call somewhere. I don't know. Again, you want to copy the Broward Dems card because you think that somebody actually believes in their garbage, go ahead and do it. I really don't care. It's actually, whoever recreated put more work into it than they actually did, than the Broward Dems actually did. I won't share certain cards because I don't agree with people who are on there.
Right. No,
that's it. That's it. I don't agree with it. But speaking of local, so I heard Debbie Mucarsel-Powell, who's running for the U.S. Senate, who I'm looking forward to meeting on Sunday, by the way.
Yes.
She's running against Rick Scott. I heard her on a podcast. She was fantastic.
She's very good.
Fantastic. She brings it. She answers questions and she wraps it up and she always brings everything right back. She's very, very, very good. We'd be very lucky to have her there. But I just want to say that she said a couple things in the interview that I don't agree with, and maybe I'll talk to her about it on Sunday because what do I have? And what do I care? We are a red state, honey. Sweetie, love you, but we are not a blue state. We are a disorganized mess. We have a horrible state party who doesn't know what they're doing. And we really, really, really have to stop saying that we live in a blue state. We're not even purple. We're not purple like a Wisconsin. We're not. We're not purple. Purple means we are fighting every day, year round, not just election year, not just right before an election, to like scramble and make it look like we're busy. That's not who we are. So we need to stop saying that, because when you say that, you are continuing to live live under this delusion, and you're saying to other people who live in Florida who are Democrats, you're allowing us to live under a delusion that we still exist here and are powerful. We are not. Democrats are not powerful here. We have great electeds that are Democrats up and down the ticket, or up and down the state, city, county, state level. We have amazing Democrats as elected officials. We are not a blue state. So we have to. She said we're a red state, and no, we're not. We are. And the sooner that we accept that, we can start working towards turning it around and becoming purple to become blue. But if you're walking around going, we live in a blue state, you're in some...
You said I thought you said she said we live in a red state.
No, she said we live in a blue state.
Oh, girl,
we live in a red state.
What state are you in?
Yeah, we have to stop this. That's misinformation.
Right.
But if we lived under the idea and worked under the idea that this is a red state, that we have to work hard to become something else, you cannot allow people, and you, I hope, understand, running against Rick Scott, that this is a red state. Please. And I think it's a PR thing, we can't ever say this thing. You have to say it out loud.
Right.
You have to say it out loud, because if you don't, I start thinking, is there something not? Please. It's really frustrating.
Did she mean county? Was she in Broward?
No, she's talking about the entire state. Also, she said this thing that is also not true. Republicans are not removing a mass number of Democrats from the voting rolls in a way that they have more registered voters than us. Have they done that? Yes. But it wasn't just Democrats. It was a ton of people removed from the voting rolls who were vote by mail. Most of them are Democrats. I agree with you. But that's not why there's no more registered Republicans now. There's a study done by the University of Florida.
Boots on the ground.
It's because they've been registering Republicans since 2020 at a massive rate.
Yeah, and we've done nothing.
We have done nothing. Ma'am, please go talk to the Florida Dems about this. Look at the numbers. We sat home in 2020. We did not knock on doors. We did not register Democrats. They left our party, and they started voting for Republicans, or Republicans moved here. But overall, they have outnumbered us since last summer, two summers in a row. We're way outnumbered in registration, because they're actually registering voters. We had no plan to do that. Zero plan. We were told we would not be registering voters last summer. Yeah, that was the plan. Instead, all that money went to a faux bus tour so Nikki Fried could put on a show about how great she is, because she wants to run for governor. That brings me to my last topic. I can't watch another interview with another state chair of a Democratic Party without crying. We have to reform this party here. We have to. The reason that she's there is because she wants to run for governor. Nikki Fried wants to run for governor. This is all her campaign. This is leading up to the announcement next year, probably, that she's going to run for governor again. She lost already. She was trounced. She cannot be our candidate for governor. God bless you for the work that you're attempting to do in this broken state. I appreciate it. I really do. You say the right things. DeSantis is your enemy. You're always talking about DeSantis. I never really see you talk about the issues here that are affecting us. You cannot be our candidate for governor. You will not win the primary. No way. Christ beat you in a primary, sweetie. Charlie Crist. It's not going to happen. So why don't you do the work you were hired to do at the party? When I watch these interviews, the Wisconsin chair of the Wisconsin Dems chair, the reason that's a red state, that's purple now, because they do the work every year, day in, day out. They do polling. They go and knock on doors of people and talk to them about the issues every single day. They're organized. You have massive issues here in Broward County with the Democratic Party. Where are you? Where are you here? Are you from here? Do you not hear the cries from the people in Broward County saying how broken the chair and this whole party is here? This county is more important than any other county in the state. We got Orange County that turned blue because of the work they did. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. When you live in a red county like Orange County was, or Hillsborough County, or Duval County in Jacksonville, Hillsborough's over by Tampa, those were all red counties 7 years ago. They're now purple or blue because those counties, those chairs understood the assignment, and they worked and they worked and they worked and they worked. They got a Democrat mayor in Jacksonville, Florida. How the heck does that happen? From doing the work. They probably went like this to the state and didn't pay attention to anything they weren't doing and just put their heads down and they did the work. The reason why Broward doesn't do the work is because we've always been blue and we take it for granted. This is why I say don't call us a blue state. Because if you're blue, you're comfortable. You're walking around. Hey, man, I don't have to go to a meeting 3 weeks before the effing election. We need a chair who's going to understand that we need to unite people and organize. And one of the things I heard this Wisconsin Dem talk about is what a waste of time GOTV events are. They're a waste of time. They don't get voters here. Here in Broward, we do open houses. Open house. Nobody shows up. They do open houses, and, well, the people who show up are people who are already involved in the party. What are you doing to reach out to people who are not involved here, who are not in the party? It's all a scheme that Todd set up. You know, it's a scheme that is used to distract you and make it look like we're busy when they haven't reached any new voters here. If anything, we have lost Democratic voters in the last 4 years. Time for a change all around. Florida is too important. We have massive hurricanes here. People are losing everything. They're dying from these hurricanes. The insurance. I saw Debbie Mucarsel-Powell, who said in this interview that I watched with her that she was up in Palm Beach where somebody had lost their house in the tornado, just ripped through their house. They just finished putting up the shutters. Next thing you know, a tornado rips through like we talked about last week. They didn't have homeowners insurance. That's it. They're done. They're done. Unless you got another $500,000 sitting around to rebuild your house.
So what, they got to just sell the land?
That's it. They're gone. That's where we're living, and you want to talk to me about a bus tour?
I know.
You want to talk to me about an open house? We have to light a fire under people here, and I don't see any attempt to do that. It's so depressing. It's so depressing. And I think about, too, not for nothing, this isn't shade, but, you know, District 100 where I live, for years I fought to get Chipple Mark out. I literally got an email from the person running against him. Nice guy. For like a fundraiser. This is Chip's last run. He'll have 2 more years. That'll be it. He'll run for something else or God knows what. Get a job somewhere making millions of dollars because he's shilled for lots of corporations while he's here. And I'm not, I looked at it and I thought to myself, I don't even have the energy or the time or a dollar to give because I know it doesn't matter. He's going to win. And I used to be so fired up and passionate about it, and I've kind of shrugged it off. And he's my representative. Me, the person who can't say a sentence without cursing here because I'm so angry, I've given up on the Chipple Mark seat. Because I'm exhausted. I was worn out. I was worn out with every race that I watched there. Yeah. I tried. Oh, forget it. Why bother? That's me. If I'm exhausted from that, imagine people who aren't involved at all and don't really pay attention.
Yeah, they don't care.
I shouldn't be feeling that way. But, all right. Well, we gotta say something else. Please don't let us leave on this note.
No, that's all I have.
Tina, no!
Yes! Well, we could talk about... We'll leave it on one half. Are you watching anything?
Wait, what are you watching?
I'm watching... What is it called?
I know what I want to tell you. Then you can tell me what you're watching. Yeah. So I listened to about half of the Al Pacino interview with Marc Marin. It's so good. He wrote a book. Are you going to read this book?
Probably.
Okay. Let me get it for you for Christmas or something.
Oh my God.
Please. It sounds amazing. But anyway, one of the stories which I thought was so funny is that, you know, after Godfather, he was getting all these scripts. And one of the scripts he got, he like read it. He's like, I don't understand this. I don't get it. I don't understand it. So he sent it to his agent. His agent's like, what is this? He's like, I don't know. So he passed on it. Star Wars. He was offered Han Solo.
Oh no.
He's like, and he goes, Harrison Ford got it. He goes, I like to say that I started his career. Han Solo, Al Pacino. Could you imagine? When he read it, he's like, I don't get what is this? I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah. He's like, what's this Wookiee?
Yeah. It's like, what?
No. I mean, I could kind of see it, but no.
Yeah, no.
No, I mean Han Solo. Yeah. Harrison Ford was made for that role.
Oh my gosh, perfect.
He's just such a cutie in that movie.
God, I can't take it.
I know him and Indiana Jones. Like he just has that little smile. Yeah. And he's just
adorable.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not the role for Pacino.
No.
I'm watching a show. I think it was on another channel, but now it's like dropped on Netflix or whatever, and it's called Dark Winds.
Oh.
It's really good. It's a Native American cop show.
Okay.
It takes place on, it's like a Navajo tribal, like, cops, and there's FBI, and there's, like, a bank heist, and... Nice! Yeah. I just watched the whole first season. Nice! It's really good. It's got the guy... Did you ever see Reservation Dogs? Yeah. So it's got actors from that show in it. Yeah, the guy that plays... the cop Joe Leaphorn, let me see his name. He was in that show. He's like so good.
I loved that show.
Let me see. It's Zon McLaren. I don't know. You would know him if you saw him. Yeah. But
I'm still every Friday new episodes of Great British Bake-Off come out.
Oh, I haven't watched. I mean, I do watch that.
It makes me so happy.
Here and there. I put it on.
Makes me so happy. I love it so much.
It's a fun show. It's a cute show.
And they're just so like nice to each other.
Yes,
and
it's not like an American competition show.
It's just so really sweet and kind. And there's this cutie on there named Dylan. And I was watching it last week, and I'm like, what is this kid doing on here? He could be a movie star. He's so cute, right? He has a cute dimple. He's adorable. So my daughter sent me a text this week, and she goes, it was a picture of him. She goes, how are you keeping my man from me? And I was like, oh my God, I know, he's so cute, right? And so we were watching it last night, and I'm like, girl, I can't. He's so cute.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
All right, well,
I guess that's it.
That's it. That's all she wrote.
2 curse words. I think that's
pretty amazing.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Gosh, I really tried hard, y'all. I just said gosh.
I mean,
maybe it's a new me.
Maybe. I don't know.
What do you think? Do you like it?
I don't like it. Okay. I didn't really notice. I didn't notice because you still were very passionate about a couple things, and it came off the same for me.
Okay. Maybe I'm turning over a new leaf.
Oh.
It'll be a whole new podcast right before it ends. 2 episodes before the end. How many episodes do we have left now?
Before the election?
Before the election. Let's see, 1, 2. There's really, this one's coming out, and then there's 2 after that. That's it.
I'm going to be sick.
Yeah. Well, the part about, I don't want to end it about it, but the thing about the Marc Maron thing was like, you do have to just live in the day and like let those things go because we really have no control. We can just do what we can control. That's it. That's all we can do. And so that's where I'm kind of at with this. But like him, when he starts talking about this after he was giving some tour dates and like, here we'll be in October. And he goes, and then after that, that's when he's like, and after that, I don't know. Like that's how I'm looking at things. Yeah. There's my son is in a drama competition on November 9th, and I'm like, God, I literally looked at the date this week and I was like, I wonder if I'll be in a good mood. Like, I wonder if I'll be sitting there looking around going, who voted for Trump? You know, you know what I mean? Like, where's my mind going to be? Yeah. Maybe we won't even know the answer because they have to do all the...
Oh, God, I don't want that. That's worse.
Also, make sure you're voting. Make sure you're registered
to vote.
Have a voting plan. If there's voting early, please go vote early. If you have any questions about your ballot, you live in Florida, please let us know. We will be happy to help you. Yeah. And just make sure you have your ballot ready. You can go in. It takes 2 minutes to vote. If you know what you're doing, you know who you're voting for. Just do it. Just do it. All right.
Okay.
Bye.